Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Saturday, June 19th. This is your daily Buckeye Fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 75 days, the game against Michigan in 161 days. Our more perceptive listeners may have noticed that it is, in fact, Saturday, a day when we don't typically release a Morning Scoop show. However, it is also day two of one of the most hyped recruiting visits of all time, so we figured, what the heck. My guest today is Buckeye Scoop's ultimate insider, Nevada Buck. He broke the news about when JT Tuimoloau's visit was going to happen, and he and the rest of our team have been bringing the heat all week on everything going on since Tuimoloau arrived on Columbus on Thursday night. Nevada, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Tom. And I want to wish a merry JT Timas to everybody out there. This is really the best time of the year, and really, it's so exciting, and it's so exciting to have recruits back on campus, and this doesn't get any bigger than this guy, that's for sure.
If we have learned anything this week is that a lot of Ohio State fans are celebrating JT Timas right now. We have talked a lot about the name, image, and likeness legislation and how it could impact recruiting in the future. And, this is kind of the first test case of that because he could be potentially a superstar in that field. You did some digging and found out some really fascinating details on exactly how Ohio State is selling the possibilities of NIL to Tuimoloau this weekend. One of the things that you're talking about is what they're doing to help these players handle all the tax and legal implications of these deals. Can you sort of explain that?
Yeah, well, first of all, one of the things that's really interesting about this is the person that's giving the NIL presentations is Ryan Day. Ryan Day is the guy that's making the presentations on NIL, which, it's not a lawyer. It's not a guy from a branding company. It's Ryan Day. He's very conversant on this. And so he's really the guy that's out there pitching, the program. And as you mentioned, what they're doing for each one of the players is each player gets their own LLC. And this helps them, obviously, from a tracking standpoint, not only tracking for them, but tracking for the government, because like with all good things, when you make money, the government wants their piece. So think of each one of these players now as their own individual company, and their own little business that they're setting up. And, that's one of the first things that you get in here. You're going to get your shoulder pads, and you're going to get your playbook, and you're going to get your, iPad, and you're going to get your LLC number and name, and your tax ID number. And that's just that new reality for football in 2021.
Yeah, that is definitely a new twist on this. But that if you have been a small business person or earn 1099 income or any of that kind of stuff, it's like, that is something that can be a valuable piece of that. Another thing that was a really clever idea was ways to ensure that everyone on the team gets a slice of the pie in some group deals. Can you explain? They have this new tiered system that they put together. Can you explain what that is, why they did it, and how it works?
Yeah, basically what they're doing is they've got three tiers of players. They've got tier A players, which are the high demand players. Tier B, which are still relatively high demand, but obviously not A's. And then tier C players. And what they're doing for any type of event or any type of sponsorship or anything that involves, Ohio State players, whether it be, let's just use, for example, a car wash opening. The car wash would say, look, I want 2 A players and 5 B players and 10 D players. And the money then basically goes and is split up on a different basis based on which tier you fall into. So, for the walk-on punters and things like that, they're going to get a piece of the pie. It's just not going to be as big as the A's or the B's, but everybody's going to get a piece. And it's, now what you're seeing is you're starting to see players go out and market themselves, and you're already seeing it. You'll get messages already from players saying, "Hey, we're available to do." This, and again, I'm old school. I can remember I can't remember which Ohio State player, but I remember an Ohio State player got suspended for a day for doing a calendar for like March of Dimes of Ohio or something like that. Well, now you're going to see that every day. The Ohio State players are going to be everywhere, and players are going to be moving up and down the tier system based upon performance. Like think of Trey Sermon, a guy that might have came out as like maybe a B or maybe even a C. And by the end, he was most definitely an A. Or, they'll use it. If you're not solid academically, you may move down tiers. It's going to affect your earnings. And so this is a whole new world for Ohio State football, for Ohio State fans to understand, and certainly for Ohio State players. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, and it's navigating this is craziness.
Yeah, I feel like over the last few months, I've just said constantly, like, I don't think people understand quite how big a deal this is going to be and what a game changer this is going to be. And I think maybe now people are starting to see that a little bit more, but it's still, until it actually goes into effect, I'm not sure even I completely have wrapped my head around the whole thing. One thing that was interesting about Tuimolau's visit is it was timed really well for NIL purposes. Number one, I mean, you've got the bill potentially going into effect. It's through the Senate in Ohio. It's not signed yet, but it's through the Senate in Ohio. It would go into effect in just a couple weeks, so that's not bad timing. He also got to go to the Ohio State football job fair on Friday. So can you explain a little bit about what that job fair is, why that's a big deal, and then why with NIL this year, that might have been, the conversations might have been a little different than previous ones?
Well, even now, if you think about each one of these Ohio State players as these individual businesses, and they're out there marketing themselves. And so now, when you go to the job fair, you're not going to the job fair and showing up in sweats or whatever and listening to things. I mean, you're showing up in a suit and tie, and you're going out there and you're marketing yourself that as a business, as a representative, as somebody who can help some other business owner in terms of promoting and moving their business along. And it's as you said, it's such a profound change that I think the Ohio State players aren't really sure what to do with this yet, but they know that there's an opportunity. And clearly, from the social media stuff is the obvious things. That's the obvious ways that people can promote. But there's going to be a lot of littler things that go along, and in businesses that we're not even thinking about right now, that are going to use name, image, and likeness and use Ohio State players in creative ways. And it's as a business owner ourselves, we've got to think about how we can use name, image, and likeness with Ohio State players. So it's definitely it's a game changer all the way around. The job fair was just one of the first steps, and this weekend, you mentioned the JTT's arrival. He came into town on Thursday, which is really. First of all, I want to mention to people, this is a very long visit for JTT. He's coming in on a Thursday, not leaving till Monday. That's a long visit. And the fact that the Ohio State staff, the entire Ohio State staff was there to watch it, and the meet him and greet him there at the thing, which is unusual because usually during a game day week, they would never have the time. With other recruits in town, they never have time. But given this crazy confluence of factors, they were all there. They were all there waiting, and you viewers all got a front row seat via Kirk Barton live streaming this. I've never seen anything. If you haven't watched the video, you have to watch the video because it's craziness. And Kirk did an unbelievable job narrating and kind of going through. But I've never seen anything like it before, and I'm not sure when we'll ever see anything like it again. So please, if you do, go to the YouTube channel and check that out. It really was it was hysterical. You'll be glad you did watch that.
Yeah, that was, you wouldn't think like guys standing around the airport for like 45 minutes waiting for a flight that's late. I mean, I think we've all been there. It's not usually a super entertaining thing. What Kirk did a fantastic job. It was a very entertaining, interesting, funny stream. And yeah, you can find that at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. We've put up a ton of video there, but yeah, go there, subscribe, and you get notified every time we do something crazy like that. But yeah, I mean, if he was wondering about how interested the Ohio State coaching staff was in him, I think he got a pretty good answer right there. And if he was wondering about the market around Ohio State football, he got a good example right after he flew in. If you watch that live stream or look through our photo gallery, you saw Ryan Day and the coaching staff wearing those like Polynesian-styled OSU shirts, the Tommy Bahama shirts. So Nevada, let people know what happened shortly after those pictures and videos started coming out. You posted a link to, oh yeah, hey, I found the shirts. Here's the shirts they're wearing, and then what happened?
Well, we have a deal with Fanatics where we have a link up on the Fanatics merchandise where people can buy on our site. Everything that maybe the staff would own or players would have, and so we linked the shirts that the staff was wearing. Shirts sold out in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, they sold out every shirt that they had. And these were not inexpensive shirts. These were nice shirts, nice Tommy Bahama shirts. These things sold out in 10 minutes. It just contributed again to the madness of this whole thing. And it's been great. It's been great fun covering this. And I think for fans, they've got to wrap their minds around the fact that NIL changes a lot of things. It's going to change decisions for players, why they go to different places, how they go to different places. I'm fully expecting in the future, when this NIL legislation gets done and the laws are in place, that remember Happy Gilmore where he had the big checks, the big decorative checks that he got from the thing. That's what they're going to be handing to recruits when they come on these visits. They're going to be handing them big decorative checks from local businesses to promote their business. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, this is a remarkable time in college football history on any number of fronts, and particularly in Ohio State football history on any number of fronts right now. One of them is, hey, by the way, lost in all of the JT Tuimoloau talk. Ohio State is apparently getting a 5-star linebacker transfer from USC. And we will have a whole special bonus episode of Buckeye Weekly on this later today, but wanted to touch briefly on the news that former USC linebacker Palai Naoteote is apparently officially enrolled at Ohio State. Yes, Naoteote is how you pronounce it, even though it starts with a G. That is a name you've been talking about Nevada for months as a transfer possibility. Can you give people at least an idea what he could bring to the Buckeyes this fall?
Well, it depends on which one we get. If Palai's back healthy, you're going to get a high-impact linebacker. If he's not healthy, he'll be a body. He'll be somebody in there. But you got to remember, he's family to Haskell. I mean, they literally are related. And so Haskell had really been going to bat for him, for saying that he's back to his. Again, he was one of the most highly coveted linebackers coming out of high school, if not the most coveted. And Ohio State's developing this nice Polynesian pipeline, and the fact that he came here on the weekend that JTD is visiting, I don't think that's coincidental that this is when it drops. And a lot of recruiting is about company relationships, and this is definitely going to help with JTT. Is it 1%? Is it 2%? But it's a something for sure.
Yeah, and we will have much more on JT Tuimoloau, including the role of a former Ohio State basketball player. The Ohio State former basketball player is now playing a role in getting the Buckeye football team ready for NIL. Nevada had a really interesting nugget about that. That's on our Ask the Insiders board. Saturday morning, Bill Green dropped just a fantastic bank blog on. So how's this all going? Because, that's sort of the unspoken question here. Like, we're telling you what Ohio State's pitching, and you're going, so how's it going? How's it going? Tell me now. Well, Bill Green has told you this morning, but you have to be a member of our Ask the Insiders board, a member of BuckeyeScoop.com to see that. So sounds like this would be a great time to become a member. And you can sign up today. It is the price of a lousy chain store pizza. And instead of indigestion, you get the very best Buckeye football coverage in the world. You can get that at BuckeyeScoop.com. And if you sign up to become a member today, in addition to all that great information on JT Tuimoloau, Palai Naoteote, and everything else going on with Ohio State right now, you also get a chance to win 4 tickets to the Oregon game. Nevada is giving away 4 tickets to the Oregon game. Nevada is not someone who typically sits behind a post in B-Deck or in the upper corner of South Stands. So I'm guessing these are pretty darn good tickets. So you can get those if you are a member of BuckeyeScoop.com before July 4th. You're entered to win those tickets. Last time I looked, the get-in price on StubHub was about $400 per seat for the lousy tickets that are probably not the tickets Nevada is giving away. So you can find that at Buckeye. You can become a member today at BuckeyeScoop.com and be entered for that membership. Also, we will have that new episode of Buckeye Weekly dropping a little bit later on today. We keep telling you this is an unusual time, an unusual weekend. There it is. We have a bonus episode of The Morning Scoop, a bonus episode of Buckeye Weekly dropping on a Saturday for you. So just search for Buckeye Scoop on your podcast platform of choice, and you will get you can subscribe to Buckeye Weekly, you can subscribe to Morning Scoop, you can subscribe to all of our great shows. You can subscribe there so you don't miss an episode, and also leave us a 5-star rating and review, which will help other folks find those shows as well. And last of all, we mentioned it earlier, but youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. Make sure you subscribe there. That way you'll get notified every time we drop a new video. We are putting out a ton of content right now between summer camps, recruiting visits, JT Tuimoloau stuff, Palai Naoteote stuff. I mean, there is a ton of stuff going on right now, and it is all happening on our YouTube channel, youtube.com /Buckeye Scoop. All you have to do is subscribe, and you get notified every time we drop a new video. So that'll do it for today. That'll hopefully do it until Monday, unless something else crazy happens. But thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We will talk to you Monday, if not sooner.